Right, so I got several things to talk to you about having to do with the social media project number 16 on Classroom. First, let's look at the instructions for the presentation. So on these instructions, I give some minimum details. Remember that if you do the minimum, that is a 70. So I want to see more than what I have listed on here. These were just ideas. You do not need to title your slides these questions. Be more creative than that. Come up with your own titles. They should be simpler than that. They shouldn't all be phrased as questions. Make sure there's some progression throughout your presentation. You know, it should start with how the social media started, and then it should progress into what it is today. I put that it needs to be at least 20 slides. You know, some of those slides may have more information than others, but you don't need slides of just pictures. Everything should have some type of explanation, explain why it's relevant. Also, remember the rule of 7 as you're going through these, making sure you're following that rule. And lastly, as you're making your slides, make sure that you're keeping those URLs so that you can make a works cited page. You could just put them on the last slide, and then we'll format that works cited page later. So let's also look at the project. Now, this is the report portion. We'll do this last, but especially if you're in a group, if you're using a partner, this is something that maybe one partner could work on this while the other works on the presentation, or maybe you both agree to do certain parts of this. But I would make the presentation first and then use the information there to format this report. You can read through the instructions and it tells you a lot about it. Right now we just need info, because later on we'll put it in MLA format and we'll talk about how to do that in class together. I also included on here the rubric. I think besides the things that have to do with you presenting, like eye contact, volume, and clarity, these other things, you should be able to almost grade your own project. To go through there and see, oh, well, I did follow this one, but I didn't follow this section of the rubric very well. So as you're going through, make sure you're looking at this rubric and seeing that it lines up with what you want to make on this project. So if you want full credit, right, if you want a 100, you need to be all 3s. So you need to be looking, what does that, what do I need as far as the content? What do I need as far as the appearance? You can ask me questions, send me an email, ask me in class, but make sure to look back at this and make sure you're checking off all the boxes if you want a good grade. The last thing on that assignment is just a slide basics YouTube video where I talk about some of the different aspects of slides and how to make it a little more interesting than just a normal presentation, to mix it up, to add some effects, to make it a little more appealing. Make sure, and I'll talk about in the video, make sure your colors are in agreement, right? That it's easy to read, that the font size makes sense, and that we can read all the words. And again, follow the rule of 7. If you don't remember what that is, go look at week 1. We talked about it up in that one.